Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all. All right, I'm going to do you like we do in school. If you can hear me in the backs, raise your hands. All right, good. All right, I want to welcome everyone to the March 10th board meeting for the Regional Transit Board of Directors. I'll have our clerk do the roll call and then read the Metro Cable replay statement. But thank you for coming today.
Director Burr?
Present.
Director Budge?
Here.
Director Dickinson?
Here.
Director Hume?
Here.
Director Kennedy is absent. Director Maple?
Here.
Director Rorba?
Here.
Director Schaefer is absent. Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Singh Allen?
Here.
And Chair Jennings.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum of 9 votes, and this meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Saturday, March 15th at 2 p.m. and Monday, March 17th at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of the meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located in the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. The time allowed for public comment is at the chair's discretion. The timer will chime when you have 20 seconds and then again when your time is up. There was no written public comment received for today's meeting.
Thank you so much. Director Maple, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
It'd be my honor. Please
And if you're
rise
able,
if you are
please stand.
able.
Thank you.
All right, salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We will now move to our consent calendar. Is there any public comment on the consent calendar?
Item 2.2, Helen O'Connell.
Hello, board. You know me. I'm back. This item caught my attention when I read the papers on it. It originally was 400,000. Now it's 1.2 100,000. So I understand there were a lot of issues that were found when they started digging, but I believe all the stuff that they're found should have been on public record so that you may not have been so surprised, which could have cut down the cost. I was just flabbergasted when I saw that the increase was 800,000 from 400,000, so it was 1.200,000. I don't know if there's a different process to figure out what's going to be under something you're digging in. It's just an issue that I thought which should be brought to the board, that it was a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure we will look into that. Thank you very much. Any other public comment?
No more.
Seeing none, we'll move to our directors. Any comments on the consent calendar?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd just like to call out item 2.4, please. Do we need to have the title read into the record or anything? Okay.
Yes, so are you pulling it from the consent?
No, I just want to make a comment.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to read the item?
I don't know. Should we?
Sure, I will.
Okay.
Okay, 2.4, Resolution 2025-03019, authorizing SACRT's General Manager, CEO, to concur in Paratransit Inc.'s request to become a direct recipient of Federal 5307 funding provided under 49 U.S.C. 5307, as required under Federal Circular 9050.1A. And
I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for her she had to read it, but I thought it was a great thing to get on the record and make sure that there is voice put to those words. We have the CEO and CFO from Paratransit in the audience, and I just want to congratulate them as well as our T staff for working on this and getting to this point. I know SACOG played a role and FTA played a role, and it doesn't really change much in the way of the funding landscape because it's all coming out of the same pie, but I think it does a lot for sort of recognizing the important work that's being done in paratransit in the space that they've adopted since we took back our own ADA service. So it's a great day, and I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you.
Director Dickinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a comment on, or a request on item 2.6. And you can read that or not, as you wish.
I'll go ahead and read it. Resolution 2025-03021, approving an exclusive negotiation agreement for electric vehicle charging public-private partnership with Luminous Sunbeam Development Holdings, LLC for 16 SAC-RT park and ride lots.
Thanks. My request would be that in the future, on these competitively bid items, you don't just tell us in the staff report that, in this case, there were 3 firms and you're recommending the highest scoring firm, but you also give us the scoring matrix as backup to that, sort of a little bit of show your math. That would be helpful in case we want to dig a little bit deeper. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chair. And if there aren't other comments, I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Are there any other comments? All right, it has been moved in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Let the record show we are unanimous. Okay, we will move to item number 3.
Okay, item number 3.1, we have Violetta Caldera with World Relief Sacramento here to give a presentation. Yes, please.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much. All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Violetta Caldera. I'm with World Relief. We're a local nonprofit. We are international, but one of our biggest national offices is here in Sacramento, and I'd just love to tell you a little bit more about refugee resettlement in this region. It might take me a second to figure out how to use this clicker, but I hope I'll do that soon. Perfect, okay. All right, so a little bit about us. We've existed since 1944, as have most of the major resettlement agencies here in the United States. We were founded in response to the crisis that happened during World War II of refugees fleeing World War II. World Relief Sacramento was established in 1989, and today we're currently active in 9 countries, and we have offices in 17 U.S. cities, and we serve the most vulnerable. World Relief Sacramento does have multiple branches, but the branch that World Relief Sacramento focuses on is specifically refugees, immigrants, and displaced people. And most of what we do is specifically with refugees, which is a very confusing term for those that aren't in this work. So I'm happy today to also define that term for you. There are 9 counties in California that are considered impacted counties. So that means that they are receiving the highest numbers of refugee arrivals throughout the state, and they are also privy to special support from the state of California and special funding streams specifically for agencies and for populations that are here. There are 6 agencies currently. We are one of the largest, and besides us is Opening Doors, Al-Mizbah, Lao Family Community Development, International Rescue Committee, and the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services. In Sacramento, we've seen 34,000 refugees resettled just by our agency alone. That's not including the other 5 since 1989. We are the #1 city in the United States for the number of resettled refugees, and we are one of the top most integrated cities in the United States. So just to give you a snapshot of the most recent numbers, in FY24, which is our fiscal year calendar beginning in October 2023 to October 2024, collectively across all agencies, we resettled 5,250 refugees. And to just kind of drive the point home, these are specifically refugees. This does not cover all other types of newcomer statuses. In FY 2025, we only have arrivals noted through Q1, which is something that I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about and why we only have arrivals for this first quarter. And the total for the Sacramento region was 1,715. In the last few weeks of January, which was the beginning of Q2, there was a push for accepting as many refugees as possible into this city. So the number is actually a little bit higher than what we have reported, but the numbers for World Relief are the absolute most recent. And the most important thing that I really want to talk about today is our client map. So refugees, newcomers, asylees, these are the populations that are some of the most vulnerable and dependent on public transportation in our county. And so as you see, the majority of refugees that are resettled are really focused on the Arden Arcade and Carmichael area. And this is where they will be doing work to reintegrate into this community. This is where they will be trying to figure out how to get their kids to schools, which are very often overflowed and outside of their immediate neighborhood. This is most likely where they're trying to find employment services, meet with caseworkers, attend their ESL classes. And the primary populations that we specifically serve are Afghan refugees, SIVs, these are special immigrant visa holders. These are individuals from Afghanistan that worked with the U.S. forces, individuals that are coming from the former Soviet Union as part of a family reunification program, as well as humanitarian parolees. These are individuals coming from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Cuba, Haiti, and Venezuela. But about 90% of the work that we're doing is going to be with Afghan refugees and SIV holders, as well as refugees from the former Soviet Union. And so this is kind of what breaks down the refugee process and really sets it apart from all other types of immigrant and newcomer processes. When you're saying the word refugee in just common rhetoric, either on the media or on social media, it is a catch-all phrase, but it's actually a very specific legal process that begins overseas and sometimes takes years to go through. So the very first thing is an agency referral from the United Nations. Then you're going through several stages of interviews, checks, biometric security checks. You're getting checked out by the Department of State, by the FBI. You go through a cultural orientation and a pre-medical screening, and only after that entire process, once you are approved and deemed a refugee, then you travel to the United States. Your flight is booked by IOM, which is the Migration Committee, and that is when you arrive in the United States and you immediately begin work with an assigned agency such as ours. The post-arrival process is where our agency takes over. So those are 90 intensive days where we pick up a family from the airport, we provide them with initial housing, we enroll them in all social services, and then we continue to work with them and refer them to ongoing services. And anyone who comes through this process is eligible for some type of support for about 5 years. So that includes employment support, healthcare navigation support, and those are other programs that we could have either through our agency or agencies similar to ours. So there are 9 stability factors that a family will rely on to really integrate into a new country and specifically into our community. And this is where the transportation piece really takes hold. And so those are housing, language, employment, community connections, transportation, health and mental health, legal status, school and youth and parenting, and finances. When refugees arrive, they are given a very specific allocation from the federal government. Usually that entire allocation is used up within their first 1 to 2 months with initial move-in costs and initial furniture costs. After that, they really don't have a high level of financial support, which is why they are highly reliant on public transportation to get them to their English classes, to get them to their employment services, job interviews, and most importantly, to get their kids to school. Because Sacramento is the #1 city for refugees, our local school districts are heavily impacted, which means that families are usually overflowed to schools that are far away from their local, from just their local apartment complex, and are usually taking their kids across a few different transportation types, from a bus to a train, maybe to another bus, in order to get their child to school. So this was our impact totally in 2024. So just to make a point that we're not only serving those that have most recently arrived, but it really takes that full 5 years for a family to fully integrate into the United States, to learn the language, to get their first job, to get their better job, and for their kids to get assimilated into school. So altogether, through all of our combined programs with clients that have been here from 0 to 5 years, we served 6,000 clients altogether. And so initial resettlement now has this big crossed out sign on it, which is one of the points that I'm also leading up to. This is a program that was just halted by the federal government. There is actually a full stop work order, and as of about a week and a half, it was fully eliminated. This program no longer exists, which means there are no refugees arriving through this entryway as of the past few weeks, except for SIVs, which are the special immigrant visa holders from Iraq or Afghanistan, who are having to buy their own tickets and then arrive here with zero agency support. It is up to them to walk in, find an agency on their own, and figure out how to get integrated. That also means that there are now zero federal funds that are helping with these most recent arrivals. Just to go back to what I spoke about earlier, that was part of that 5,000 that arrived last year, as well as close to 2,000 that arrived just a few months ago. There is now very limited support, both financially as direct financial assistance, as well as through manpower, as the federal funding cuts also impacted the amount of people that do this work. This sector has experienced significant layoffs over the past month, and this hits all agencies across the United States, and especially the 6 that are local to the Sacramento region. So now refugees don't have federal assistance, but they also lack other assistance, such as a caseworker or resettlement associates that are able to drive them to appointments, drive them to school enrollment, as well as funds for things like Ubers for families. We do, however, have a few other programs that still exist. One of our biggest is economic empowerment, which we work very closely with through Sacramento County. We do have a direct partnership with SETA, and we work with them in their refugee self-sufficiency programs, as well as their family self-sufficiency programs and their match grant programs, to help clients become self-sufficient and unreliant on government funds as fast as possible. This includes intensive case management, which is for families that need an extra level of support, such as single moms or families with zero English competency. Health and wellness navigation, which is mental health support, as well as healthcare navigation. Education and group services such as ESL. And finally, immigration legal services. And that's it for my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for that presentation. We'll go to the directors first, and Director Dickinson.
Thanks for the presentation. I'm just curious, given the termination of the initial resettlement program, what your sources of support, financial support for World Relief are at this stage to support the other services that you referred to.
So there are still a few programs that are up and running. The biggest one for us was that initial resettlement. It really was 70 to 80% of a lot of the funding that we were receiving, but we still have programs such as through SETA. We also have state programs like CalAIM, and then ORR, which is the Office of Refugee Resettlement, still funds a few other programs such as Preferred Communities, which is a 90-day more hands-off case management program, as well as the match grant program, which encourages families to not enroll in any type of cash assistance program in order to help them find a job as fast as possible.
So that's still primarily federal funding for the?
That is now a good mix of both federal, county, and state, as well as we have some private donors, such as churches, that work very closely with us as well.
And so you were showing us the numbers on refugees for the first quarter. When we get to the end of the second quarter, and you made reference to the only refugees that are still able to enter the country are from Iran and Iraq.
From Iraq and Afghanistan. who
Afghanistan,
have their own
I'm sorry.
tickets, yeah.
What's that number going to look like in your
So
estimation?
that's a little tricky to say because those families are fully on their own. They're figuring out their own flights. They're getting here fully on their own, and then they're just walking into agencies such as ours. Prior, we worked hand in hand with the Department of State, so they would tell us in advance about all the arrivals. So there's no way for us to predict those numbers.
You don't have any kind of estimate that you're working on that'll help you plan for what service levels you?
We know that it will be a very limited amount. There's not a lot of families that are able to afford something like that, so it won't be a high number of arrivals. Our biggest focus is just to serve the families that are already here.
And have you gone through staff reductions as a result? And,
Yes,
and
our
what
agency.
magnitude?
Our agency has our staff cut by 65%, and those numbers are reflected across all the agencies.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Director Brewer.
So in looking at your partnerships that you have with Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services and Al Mizpah, what are those partnerships looking like as more people will be coming in, but less federal assistance will be coming in? What is that looking like?
So that really goes agency to agency. Those 6 agencies that I spoke of, they each have their own individual contract with the Department of State. Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services have chosen to now eliminate their R&P program. And what happens is going to really be determined on each individual agency, what type of private support they have, what type of state and county contracts they have. But we all provide very similar services within our own federal contracts.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Singh Allen.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to bring this back to this body, SAC-RT,
Yeah.
and this presentation. So to what extent are the clients aware of the services SAC-RT provides?
So they go through an initial, or they went through in the initial R&P program, they went through a cultural orientation, a big piece of which was transportation services, how to utilize SAC-RT. What's rough now is because R&P is eliminated, we are looking for ways to provide that cultural orientation without the program through which it was provided. So we are still now figuring out how we're going to be able to conduct that orientation without the program existing.
Thank you.
Additional questions from directors?
Thank you for raising that because I overlooked that. But what could Sacramento Regional Transit do, if anything, to help the people you're working with have mobility and accessibility?
That's a really fantastic question. The biggest need is just to keep refugees in mind. They do have limited, some refugees, a good portion, will have limited English speaking abilities, limited tech literacy, and so they will have a lot of difficulty finding out about transportation. Also, when they initially were settled and they did go through that cultural orientation, a lot of that information was taken in while they were under extreme duress in their initial resettlement process. So there's sometimes having to be relearning happening on an ongoing basis to be aware of the services that exist as well as how to access them. So something that could be very beneficial for us is just an ongoing dialogue so we can show you where refugee families are living, what types of travel they are doing, such as taking their kids to school in overflowed areas, as well as partnership with the local school districts where the majority of our clients are attending in order for the parents to be able to get their kids to school and then have reasonable amount of time to attend English classes and seek employment.
Rick, I have one. This one's for Henry. Over the last couple of years, as you all have been doing job fairs, you've been providing translation services in case people have limited English skills. Is that continuing?
Yes, we did, and we actually went to those communities to actually target those potential.
Right.
If they meet the minimal qualifications, we actually try to hire them.
Super. Thank you.
Also
Vice
do
Chair
have a
Singh
job
Allen.
fair on March 19th that we're doing in partnership with SETA. So if that is something that the board is interested in, to see our newcomer families, to meet them, to even table at that event, we are doing that together in partnership with SETA next week.
Yeah, my question, more of a comment, is ensuring that the clients, the refugees, are aware of the Kids Ride Free program for school. And that's just an invaluable service, and the more people know, the better we can really expand those routes and make sure that those needs are met.
And just to build on that, it would appear, based on the circumstances, that if we continue our dialogue and stay in touch with each other, we can look at other ways to partner with you in order to not only help the kids with the Ride Free program, but also to help the parents who are going to have to find work on their own, try to make sure their kids get to and from. We should be able to help in some way or form some form of a partnership that provides transportation for them, take that burden off of them. Other questions, comments? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very, very thorough presentation. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we will go to questions from the questions from the public.
Okay, for public addresses the board on matters not on the agenda, we have Jeffrey Tardagia.
Well, this is Jeff Tardagia. What I was coming in because some of the staff members want me to say something nice and positive. So I will say the nice and positive thing is, hey, you got rid of the graffiti at 17th and L Street. It had become a bit of a mess through there. So thank you. Also, I thank you for some of the improvements, like the, should we say, computer in the back through there. SACOG did it, and a couple of others have done it. So when you come to a meeting, you can actually physically see better than just what's on the agenda. That's appreciated. Other things. Please soon hold something dealing with the low floor and bring some operators in there to know what's going on. As I've turned around and had various interactions with operations, I've asked about how long are we going to have the 5-minute delay at Sac Valley Station. And I was pleasantly informed that that's the time that Gold Line is going to be leaving. Well, there's other issues through there of getting out to Folsom as well, because it's not quite long enough to make the changeover to do the things to keep everything to 15 minutes. There are other issues. I commented about last Tuesday where things were not moving at 719, and so they suddenly took off. So I had to figure an alternate way to maneuver around to get publicly moved that day. Grabbed a bus and did the other things because there was too much of a rush to try and get something to happen. Well, I'm about to lose time, so the other thing I'm going to turn around and tell you is this coming Wednesday, Siemens is the only operation that is not unionized. They're having a vote this Wednesday. And speaking of to the Afghans and the other things through there apparently is quite a few of those community members that are employed at Siemens. I'll stop.
Thank you, sir.
And Helen O'Connell.
Sorry.
Hello. Excuse me. I have a praise report. The cancellation rate is way down. Thank you very much. It makes it much easier to travel if you know the bus is actually coming. RT Go is having a better arrival time. We're staying within the 30-minute window most of the time, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate, like Jeff said, that the information is flowing well. People can access the tracker app. They have the RT Go app. They have the alert, which will give them access to the website, which is very, very helpful. That tells us when buses are canceled, and it will also tell us how many and which ones. So I am very happy about all that. I am thankful that the board is very responsive to the public comments and issues that have come up over the last couple of years. And I would like to say thank you very much for listening to the public and making changes that have been very important.
Can we give her additional time for that praise report? There was like 7 or 8 things in there that I really liked what she said. All right.
Next,
And yours too. You gave us a little praise in there too. All right. Good job. Good job.
next we have Robert Copeland.
Okay, first I'm going to give the RT staff members here an A+.
Okay.
I think they're very helpful. You don't get an F on everything. I got a question for you. Are you doing public outreach for new sales tax, property tax, for transportation? I'd like to see Sacramento Transit Writers Union help out. Okay. Also, what will that money be used for? I think it should go to half the housing, half to RT, myself. No matter what, it's a sales tax or property tax. I don't know what the dollar amount would be on each. Also, when are they going to put the trolley in from West Sac? There's supposed to be a trolley car from the baseball field to Sacramento. I don't know when it's going to come in, if ever, or we have the money to pay our share of it. Also, I heard plans RTs are supposed to go to Elk Grove and the airport. That's going to take a lot of money. I don't know if we have that kind of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
That is all I have for public comment.
Okay. All right. Then we will move to item 5.1 under new business.
5.1, motion appointing one board member to the Capitol Corridor Joint Powers Authority. And due to a scheduling conflict, Director Maple has requested to have a new appointment to replace her member position on the CCJPA board.
And my understanding was there was one board member who was willing to step up.
I think it's Director.
Director Dickinson, willing to, shoot, give him a round of applause, please. Is there any other board director that would like to be voted in at this point in time?
Well, I don't know if I need to be voted in. I was voted in last year. I'd like to, so we have 2 representatives. I'd certainly like to remain one of the representatives.
Okay, all right, that's done. Okay, then we will now have a vote for.
I'll make the official motion.
Thank you.
Second.
The official motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Congratulations, sir, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
that is good. All right, with that, we will move to item 6.1, General Manager's Report.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Genius, Board, and the members of the public. Thank you for joining us this evening. And I think one board member who is not here today will be extremely happy when they hear from Robert about A+. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Also, Jeff and Helen. First, some exciting news. 2 weeks ago, we held the Dos Rios Light Rail Station groundbreaking ceremony. While it may have started to rain at the end of the press conference, that did not stop Sacramento and our partners from having a wonderful event for this very important project. Over 100 community partners and numerous dignitaries and electeds attended, including Congresswoman Doris Matsui and Senator Ashby. Thanks to Chair, and also thanks to our directors, who attended that, by alphabetical order. First, Director Dixon, then Director Helm, then Director Kennedy, and Director Maple. So, Director Maple, don't bring me, put you in the last. It's by alphabetical order. So 4 directors attended, in addition to Chair Jennings. And the station was years in the works, and we're very thankful that we have been able to secure the necessary grant funding to build the station, which is $43 million. And 3 years ago, we really didn't have any idea how we're going to get that $43 million. But we were able to quickly put those money together. And when completed, the new station will provide a crucial transit connection for the growing river district and the Mirazo Village housing community. The whole, hundreds of affordable housing units are being built. The next slide. And continuing with press conferences, just over a week ago, Sacramento was happy to host the celebration of the completion of the Florin Road beautification project at our Florin Light Rail Station. Partnering with the City of Sacramento, the Social Truth Museum, Caltrans, and the Florin Road Partnership, we received 4 larger-than-life art chairs to enrich our station. The public art installation adds to the appeal of the Florin Light Rail Station as the community hub and enhances the experience for everyone. Beyond the station, additional benches were installed at our bus stops along with the corridor, which are invaluable resources for our riders and making transit more comfortable and accessible. So again, thanks to Chair Jennings and Director Maple for hosting and representing Sacramento at the ceremony. Then next one. As I shared previously, earlier last year, Sacramento and the ATU 256 relaunched our partners Moving Forward mentorship program. The goal of this program is to create and strengthen a safer and more positive work environment. And the relationship with our union partners are extremely important. As you might notice earlier today, one of the major transit agencies in the state the ATO just went to strike. And 1,500 union members walked out of the work from in the beginning of this AM, and which caused some kind of like a very challenging situation. And these mentorship programs help position operators for future success and to build a long career here at Sacramento. At the beginning of the month, this month, 12 SACRT employees representing different unions and trainers attended the 3-day Mentors in Motion 2025 conference in Montreal, California. The event brought together representatives from 7 states, 15 local ATU unions, and 19 transit agencies. This is the beginning of this wonderful partnership program. And ATU, president, our local ATU president, Krista Lee, very graciously called me to express her gratitude on behalf of her members. She represents over 800 or close to 1,000 members. And appreciate our support for the program participation. We have 12 attendees there, which is probably the largest attendee, the trip for the people. We're very excited about the opportunity to train and develop union members through professional developments, skill trainings, and partnership initiatives. Okay, next one. Speaking of partnerships, I would like to share that SACRT partnered with Sacramento Housing Alliance during the annual Housing California conference last week here in Sacramento. And we provided transportation for attendees to explore innovative affordable housing and transit-oriented developments under construction or recently just completed. These community tours offered a first-hand look at housing solutions, shaping our region and highlighting the connections between transit and accessible living. And with the NOFA for the next round of affordable housing sustainable communities set to be released later this month, SACRT is strengthening these partnerships to better secure grant funding. So, both I just talked about the partnerships. Partnership is extremely important for us, and we put that at a very high priority. Just like we have a Paratransit Inc. CEO Tiffany is here, and along with the CFO from PI, and that is a partnership too, right? And we just approved that directive funding recipient. Appreciate the partnership. Then a little bit of light rail modernization update. As we shared, SACRT has updated our Folsom Gold Line weekday service schedule. With the official launch of 15-minute service to Folsom in January, SACRT encountered some challenges that impacted overall service reliability, and we heard from our community partners and some concerns, and we worked with our community partners very hard to try to address those concerns. Some of the factors affect the reliability included the power loss during the season, because the winter season is always a little bit tough, and the weather and the tight scheduling and the system constraints all along the Gold Line. To better ensure a more reliable schedule, we have adjusted our schedule to improve service reliability and maintain most weekday trips operating at 15-minute frequency to and from Folsom area multiple stations. I want to specifically thank Director Anna Robert for spending enormous of time and efforts to guide and help staff and community partners and the news medias to address Folsom communities' concerns and improve our safety and reliabilities. We have a couple pictures there, and we kind of try to write the trends to see what's going on. But the train cleanliness was so good when we go through those stations and the train itself, inside itself. Additionally, we have shared with the board our actions to mitigate noise complaints raised by a handful of residents with the residents in the Fabulous 40 that areas and a couple stations because our new trends and they feel have a little bit more high volume. We spend enormous of effort to try to address that. Right now, I'm very happy to report that issue almost addressed. We even had the group meeting with the community partners, about more than dozens of community reps were here in this room at the end of the last calendar year, December 30th or 31st. Spent like 2 hours to work with them. Probably more than 200 emails back and forth. We really want to thank the community leader, Larry, Burston, and others who have been patient with us as we have worked toward a solution. And the staff, our VP of Operation and VP of Safety and Security, Lisa and Blanca, they spent face-to-face time. They went to those stations probably more than 2,000 of times to actually say that by themselves and talk to the community reps over there. So lots of effort went into that, and the results are very good. Because not just for that area, it's for the entire community, along with our light rail 3 lines. Another community partnership is actually with Channel 24 in the light rail station on the 24th Street. They built a wonderful art facility with about 2,000 people capacity. So 2,000 people can visit that facility, and they're going to have like 140 events each year. And thanks to Director Sarah, who led us and guide us to have face-to-face meetings with them, and we actually had a meeting in our facility 2 weeks ago, and try to find out how we can help them in a way to promote the business. And originally, we try to say if we can charge a surplus $1.50 per ticket, and they tried their best. It looks like for some regulation, they could not be able to do that, charge the surplus for a ticket. But we're going to try to help them. Maybe when the major, the busiest events, we may add like one more trip at 11:45 p.m. to help them to get the visitors out to Rancho Cordova, to Folsom, through the Gold Line. So thanks, Director Sarah and Director Maple and the Council Member Plackbaum for attending the event and helping to mitigate this type of situation. And the Channel 24, they are very, very appreciative. Even though we cannot meet the event, I had a call over the weekend. They told me the result, and they said they really appreciate and they want to help to secure more local funding. And just like Robert said, how we're going to looking for the 2026 sales or property tax or whatever. We're going to have a meeting with the SMART, the community advocacy group, Stephen Cohen, tomorrow to discuss how we're going to further down the road to work with them. And we actually, a year ago, we teamed up with them and others. They have done lots of community outreach. I don't know if you know that, Robert, and really appreciate if you can join those outreach events. Okay. Okay. Let me move on. We all know that guy, So I just wanted to show this photo with Jeff and with our one of the best transit ambassadors, Jeff Targaya. And as we get up for our next cohort of Zacatecas Transit Academy, which will launch later this spring, Jeff worked with our marketing team to help film a testimony video. He was doing that at that time. I passed by, just had a picture with him. So Zacatecas Transit Academy is a free 6-class course. We have done this each year in the last many years. And the course designed to educate and engage residents, business, and community leaders about our planning process and how public transit shapes our communities. In the coming weeks, we will open application process, so please stay tuned or check our website at zacatecas.com. Every year, close to 50, Coco, it's about 40 something? Okay, 40, okay. Finally, in collaboration with our member agencies, Zacatecas is embarking on a new comprehensive operational analysis, a deep dive in our bus routing and frequency. This effort will take approximately 1 year to complete and includes updates to Zacatecas short-range transit plan and long-range transit plan. I know some of our board members, like Director Budge and others, have gone this cycle multiple times in the past. Stockholder engagement will be underway soon, including presentations to local advocacy groups, as well as the formation of both a technical advisory committee and a public stakeholder group. Staff will be in your community soon. Ask input. Please be on the lookout. And also in our written report, and I know some of our community partners ask us to include more information into our written report, which we published, and we include some major project updates and strategic plan updates, Zacatecas' overall quarterly performance goals, which shows 95.5% of score out of the 100, but there are areas we still need to improve, and we will try to work with our community partners to further improve those areas which is important for our community. So, Mr. Chair, this concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Great report. Very well presented. And now we will move to the directors for questions or comments regarding the general manager's report.
Actually, Chair, we do have a public comment on the general manager's report.
Yeah, I just want to take the directors first, and then I'll go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Public, yeah. Any questions or comments?
No, I'll make a comment. Thank
Okay.
you, both Lisa, well, all three of you, Lisa, Devra, and Henry, for coming out to Folsom. And it was, Henry did make a point of walking through the entire train. And Anna, do you see how clean it is? Do you see how clean it is? And so that was really great. Also, having the security come down, and it was very impressive. And all the myths that we hear coming out of Folsom, you just kept swatting away. So we're working on a plan to get it on our agenda to further outreach on how we can communicate to our area that this is such a great option to commute down. So I'm working on getting it on the agenda. So thank you again for all your time.
Other directors? I just want to make a comment on the Florin Road beautification project. I had the opportunity to be out there all day long, and it was just incredible, but not just at the station, was great. The project extends up and down Florin Road, and you can see the effect that it's having on the community, the beautification and the artwork that's there, art in public places. And these are really impressive chairs and the benches that they've done, and the whole neighborhood is starting to take a part and being a part of keeping it clean and keeping it something that they can be proud in. So I just wanted to acknowledge the great work that staff has done in making that happen, and all of the community partners that we worked with in order to keep that beautification going. So great job on that. Okay, now let's go to our community.
We have Jeffrey Tartagia.
Well, let's see. Oh, I'm sort of out of the picture. I'll come over here a little further. And we'll say is yes, the academy should be here in July, and it's limited to 40 people. So sign up soon, please. What needs to be the focus is related to getting the source of transportation. I was supposed to a couple of weeks ago meet with Henry about how in San Francisco the funding came from, should we say, property taxes. Because I think that's an area that we need to just see so that for operation purposes, but we will be exploring what it is that needs to happen and occur. And that's only because sales tax has not seemingly solved itself. One of the comments I'll make about your slide over there is on the 142 bus. Please make sure that both the hydrogen buses and the other ones have the full access on spacing. The problem with the buses right now is one side is larger than the other side, and these the buses for the next 20 years. There's a problem where you just didn't take one more seat out to make it where it would be both sides the same distance. I'm hoping that both procurement and safety will examine that. I brought up a few other things for the light rail vehicle for the, should we say, vehicle travel, that a person with a stroller cannot hang on to a baby, fold up a stroller, and push the button. These are the things that need to be examined for the low-floor light rail vehicles. We still have the problems of the button control, both inside and out, and how on the inside you know whether the ramp is deploying or not. There's other things going on there. I hope you guys see what the new little devices work for dealing with the fare boxes. Heard today that we have replacements for the broken fare boxes, because that's been an issue that I've asked this group about. And I'll shut up.
Thank you, sir.
And we have Dan Allison.
Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, board members. I wanted to talk about the comprehensive operational analysis item that Henry talked about. STAR is very excited. Oh, sorry. I'm speaking on behalf of Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders today. We're very excited about that process moving forward, and we want to participate in it, and we'll commit to being a participant in it. The other transit advocacy organizations may also want to participate, but I know that we do. We're excited about the process, about the documents that will come out of it, and the planning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have Helen O'Connell.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive report. There are a lot of different aspects of the report that I'm going to have questions about, but I will address them to the staff. I wanted to let you know that when I got on the light rail, the low floor light rail train today, I was pleasantly surprised that when I drove up to the train, all the doors were opened and the ramps were deployed. So I did not have any difficulty getting on the train. There were other people willing to help, but that was not necessary because the driver had opened the doors and released the ramps, which was extremely helpful. And when I had to disembark, I was able to reach a button to be able to get out, and I didn't have any issues because there wasn't anyone coming into the train at the time. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And I like the Next Stop News, the audio visual one. It is very much more accessible than just the paper one. I know staff has been working on communicating and using different platforms to get information out. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robert Copeland.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Dos Rios Light Rail Station. When's it going to be completed? The latest estimate. That's one question. Two, you have problems with the Folsom light rail. Were those unforeseen problems, or did you see them ahead of time? Also, my third question is, when you had a tour with Sacramento Housing Alliance, what parts of Sacramento did you go visit? I'm done.
You have too many questions. I cannot answer. We can do that later.
Now you have 35 seconds, too.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job. Others?
Okay, and Tiffany Scott with Paratransit Inc. just turned in a card.
Good evening. I wasn't going to speak, but I just wanted to say thank you to Henry, obviously, for tonight and for partnership. But the other thing that came up, there's been a lot of discussion about the light rail train, so I just wanted to bring up that one of the ways Paratrans is partnering is we've been sending out our travel trainers. They're very experienced with the system, and we've actually tasked them to riding the trains and looking at what they see and how they train. And so we put together a review that we'll be shortly passing over to the general manager and staff, but also with a training and education plan, which is something that we have experience in on ways we can partner with RT to help use our skills to do that. And we are excited with the COA that as you look to make changes, what we can do to use our staff and our resources to better that. And for the city of Folsom, if you ever want to take your group out on a field trip and teach people what it's like, we can actually send trainers with you to organize a day, or we can actually have people meet up and show them how easy it is to use Ride, where to do it, and walk them through it. We find a lot of people, once they have someone kind of with them to do it the first time, will be much more inclined to do it again, and we extend that as a way to help get ridership. Our goal is to make RT successful by using our programs. We want more people to go more places with most options, and that may be Paratrans services, but a lot of times it's fixed route and light rail offer much more mobility. So anything we can do to help partner, we're here to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have for public comment.
Okay, let's move to item number 7, the reports, ideas, and questions from directors in communication. You have 7.1 and 7.2?
Yes, we have 7.1, the Capitol Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting summary of February 19th.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to apologize to everyone on the board for being so late. My last meeting went very late. I have a meeting after this one that will take me till 8:30 tonight. So it's been a very, very, very busy day today. So getting on to the Capitol Corridor Authority met on February 19th. I have the pleasure of reporting that the board feels that the impact of the federal government, since we don't get very much funding from the federal government, will be minimal. There's some where ridership is way up for 2024. 74% of the revenue came from single fare rides. And so it's gotten really popular. We're going to be moving back to 30 trains a day. So just some really exciting things to report here. Also, single fares are going down. So if you're going from San Jose to Santa Clara, Great America, it'll go from $8.50 to $5. If you're going from Sacramento to Davis, it'll go from $9 to $6. So, and then if you're going to Martinez to Jack London Square, it'll go from $14 to $13.50, which isn't much, but nonetheless, across the board, all the fares are going down. The 10 ride fares go from $57 to $40. The 10 ride fare for Sacramento Davis goes from 60 to 40, 30% discount, 30% reduction. So things are looking up. So that's my report.
Thank you. We'll hold questions and comments until at the end. 7.2.
7.2, the Mobility Advisory Council meeting summary of February 20th, 2025. And it's just a written report that was included in the packet.
Great. Okay, I'll take questions from the directors in reference to item 7.1 or 7.2.
I just have a quick comment.
Director Mabel.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to thank Director Schaefer for the great report. There's some really exciting things to come out of the Capital Corridor JPA. Just a couple of weeks ago, myself, along with representatives from the City of Davis and from the County of Yolo and CCJPA, the Capital Corridor, trying not to use less acronyms, Joint Powers Authority, all met at the Davis Light Rail, or the Davis Amtrak station, and really talked about the needed Americans with Disabilities Act or ADA improvements that are needed for that station and how we can all collectively work together. So I think those are things that we can be looking down the pipeline for in terms of important projects. And I think it really ties in with some of the work that Director Schaefer mentioned. Thank you.
Other directors? Hearing none, seeing none. Any public comment on these two items?
There's no public comment.
No more public comment? Well, I am saddened to say, because we got an A+ over here, and Helen, you didn't give us a grade, but it's not too late if you want to yell it out.
Most improved.
Most improved, okay. So we got an A+ and a most improved, so that means we're still working hard. And I just want to acknowledge the incredible staff that we have here that does wonderful work and makes the general manager look exceptionally well. So they do a good job, and I just want to acknowledge them because they do a lot of work. They listen to everything you say when you come here, and then they develop a plan and put it into place in order to correct it. And so I always want to acknowledge them and give them a round of applause if I can. And we appreciate each one of you for coming out and talking to us and telling us. You're the eyes and ears on the street that tell us how well we're doing and what we need to do better. And that's our whole goal, is to make sure we do better and serve the communities that we serve, and just make sure that, we're doing everything we can to help them. So this meeting and all the business of this meeting has been done. Is that correct?
Yes.
So with that, we are hereby adjourned.
All right. Good job, Jerry.